You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about self-sufficiency, like really getting back to basics
Mm,
and using what's naturally available to us, you know?
yeah.
Like, what if we could harness the power of nature for our well-being?
Right.
Imagine having a mini pharmacy right outside your door,
Oh, wow.
stocked with homegrown remedies.
That's a cool idea.
That's what this deep dive is all about, the concept of a medicine garden kit.
I like it. It's interesting you say that because it feels like we're kind of tapping into something primal
Yeah,
with this whole idea.
totally.
Humans have relied on plants for healing for centuries.
That's right.
It's only like relatively recently that we've shifted to pharmaceuticals as our primary go-to for everything.
It's true. And with all the news about supply chain problems and the cost of healthcare, it seems like the right time to be rediscovering those ancient practices, don't you think?
Absolutely.
But I'll be honest, I'm more likely to order takeout than tend to garden.
Uh-huh.
So where would someone even begin with this whole backyard apothecary thing?
Well, you might be surprised how straightforward it can be.
Really?
Oh, yeah, we're not talking about needing acres of land or anything. A really basic medicine garden kit is doable even if you don't have much space or experience.
Okay, now you're speaking my language, practical and approachable.
Exactly.
So what kind of plants are we talking about here? What are the must-haves for a beginner's kit?
Well, let's start with a classic, right? Aloe vera. You've got to have aloe. It's
Yeah.
like the ultimate multitasker.
It really,
Good for burns, skin irritations, you name it.
it's like nature's first aid kit.
Exactly. Always ready to go.
Okay, that's one down. I'm going to guess lavender is on the list too.
Of course, lavender's a classic for a reason.
Right, and it's not just hype.
No, not at all. Lavender's got these compounds in it, like linalool,
Okay.
and they've actually been studied.
Well,
They interact with our neurotransmitters and can really promote relaxation and sleep.
so it's like aromatherapy but with science behind it.
Exactly, yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
What else is on the must-have list?
Let's see, we've got aloe, lavender. Oh, peppermint. Can't forget peppermint.
Peppermint, yeah. I mostly just think of breath mints or like a midday tea.
Sure, sure.
But it's good for digestion too, right?
Oh, it's a powerhouse for digestion.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It can even help with tension headaches.
Hold on, headaches too. I had no idea peppermint was so versatile.
It's the menthol in it.
Okay.
It can help relax the muscles in your head
Wow.
and can even help with nausea.
Okay, peppermint just shot up my list. This is fascinating.
Right. It's amazing what these plants can do.
What else are we overlooking in our kitchens?
Well, echinacea is a big one.
Oh yeah, echinacea. That's supposed to be great for the immune system, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's popular for good reason. Tons of studies on its ability to boost immunity.
Which, let's be honest, we can all use a little help with these days, especially during cold and flu season.
For sure.
Definitely beats loading up on over-the-counter stuff.
I think so.
Okay, so we've got aloe, lavender, peppermint, echinacea. What else is there?
One more I'd definitely recommend for a beginner's kit is chamomile.
Chamomile. Yeah, good for sleep, right?
Right, we usually think of chamomile for those calming bedtime teas,
Yeah.
but it's got these incredible anti-inflammatory properties too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a flavonoid in it called apigenin.
Epigenin, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's not just a sleepy time thing. It's actually fighting inflammation, too. Tell me more about this apigenin.
Yeah, so this apigenin,
Okay.
it can actually bind to certain receptors in your body.
Wow.
And those receptors play a role in reducing inflammation.
Huh. So there's like a real mechanism there.
Exactly. It's not just some old wives' tale. It's
Wow.
actual science.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Hmm.
So chamomile can help with anything from an upset stomach to skin irritations.
That's right.
Wow, I had no idea there was so much going on in a simple cup of chamomile tea.
Right. It's pretty amazing. Right.
You've officially convinced me to try growing some of these herbal allies myself.
Awesome.
But let's talk logistics for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Say, I've got my seedlings. I'm feeling optimistic.
Mhm.
What are the most important things to keep in mind for actually growing this stuff?
Well, the big two are always sunlight and soil.
Okay.
Most medicinal herbs, they really thrive in sunlight. We're
Yeah.
talking like at least 6 hours a day.
6 hours a day. Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're picking a spot for your medicine garden, that's key, right?
Yeah.
Where does the sun hit your yard?
Exactly.
Okay, well, my yard is more shaded, let's say.
Okay, yeah.
So what do I do then?
Well, that's where you might have to get creative.
Okay.
You could use containers that you can move around to follow the sun.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or even just set them on a sunny windowsill if you're short on space. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's all about adapting, right?
Right.
Working with what you've got.
Love that. Flexibility is key. Sunlight? Check. What about the soil situation?
Okay, so for soil,
I'll admit, I don't know much about different types of soil or anything.
you don't have to be an expert, really.
Good.
The most important thing is drainage.
Drainage, okay.
Herbs hate to have soggy roots.
That makes sense.
So make sure your containers have good drainage holes.
Got it.
And you can even mix in things like perlite or sand to help with drainage, too.
That's smart. Keep it light and airy.
Exactly.
Got it. Good drainage equals happy herbs. Okay, now I got to ask about pests. Are there certain bugs that are going to make a beeline for my medicinal plants?
Well, there are always going to be some hungry critters around.
But luckily, there are ways to deter them naturally.
So good.
Have you heard of companion planting?
I think so, vaguely.
Basically, you plant certain things together, and they actually repel pests.
Oh,
Like planting basil and rosemary alongside your other herbs can help keep the bugs away.
So it's like building a little protective force field around your plants with other plants.
Exactly. And if you do find some pests, you can usually just use a spray bottle with water and a bit of dish soap.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah, gentle but effective.
I like it. Okay, let's fast forward a bit.
Yeah.
My plants are thriving. I'm practically a master herbalist at this point.
I love it.
How do I know when it's time to actually harvest this stuff?
That's a great question.
And what's the best way to store everything once I've harvested?
Yeah, that's important to think about too.
Right. Don't want all my hard work to go to waste.
Exactly. So for harvesting, you want to do it when the plant's beneficial compounds are at their peak.
Okay. How do I know when that is?
A good rule of thumb is to harvest just as the plant is about to flower.
Oh, interesting.
That's when those compounds are most concentrated.
So I'm snipping away during peak bloom. Got it. Then what?
Then you'll want to dry the herbs.
Okay.
Drying them helps to preserve those good compounds.
Right.
Traditionally, people would hang herbs upside down in a cool, dark place to dry.
Yeah, I've seen that in, like, those rustic kitchens in magazines.
Exactly. It's a classic method. But a dehydrator can work too.
Makes sense, especially if you're short on time or space.
For sure. And then once your herbs are totally dry, you can store them in airtight containers away from direct sunlight.
Okay, to keep them fresh?
Yes. And that way they'll last you much longer.
Perfect. Homemade herbal remedies, ready to go. This is so cool.
All right.
Talk about self-sufficiency.
Okay. We've gone from seedling to storage now, but let's get practical.
Okay.
What are some actual situations where I'd be reaching for my backyard stash instead of running to the store?
Okay, so picture this. You're cooking, right? And you accidentally touch a hot pan.
Oh, I've done that. Ouch.
Right. Well, instead of reaching for that tube of conventional burn cream,
Yeah.
you could just grab a leaf from your aloe plant.
Oh, yeah.
Apply some fresh aloe gel straight to the burn. It's so soothing.
It really is. I've used aloe for burns before. It's amazing how quickly it works.
It's like magic.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're feeling a bit under the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of automatically popping a pain reliever, you could try a cup of chamomile tea made with your homegrown chamomile. Oh, that sounds so much nicer than taking a pill.
Right.
It's amazing how these plants offer such targeted relief for common issues.
It is pretty incredible.
Okay, what about stress? Asking for a friend, obviously.
Of course.
But seriously, what can I use from my backyard apothecary to combat stress?
Lavender.
Lavender, yeah.
That's where your fragrant lavender comes in handy.
Right.
Let's say you're having trouble sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of reaching for a sleep aid,
Yeah.
you could brew yourself a cup of lavender tea.
Oh, that does sound nice.
Or even just make a little sachet filled with dried lavender to keep by your bed.
That sounds so luxurious.
Yeah.
And relaxing, too.
Right.
Okay, what about peppermint? Besides, freshening breath, what else is it good for?
Oh, peppermint is a multitasker, for sure. Feeling a tension headache coming on. Peppermint tea can work wonders.
Really? I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, and it's great for if you've overindulged a bit and have an upset stomach.
It settles your stomach.
Mm-hmm. Can help calm things down, reduce bloating.
Huh, I had no idea. This is really making me rethink my whole approach to wellness.
Right.
It's like, I have all this stuff at the drugstore, but maybe I should be looking to my garden instead.
Exactly. It's about tapping back into the wisdom of nature.
I love that. And it's not just some new fad either.
Right.
These remedies have been around for centuries.
Exactly. They're time-tested.
It seems like there's a real mental and emotional benefit to all of this too, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Even just the act of gardening, it can be so therapeutic.
Oh, for sure. There's just something so satisfying about taking control of your health and well-being in that way.
Totally.
You're literally getting your hands dirty,
Yeah, it's grounding.
Exactly. And beyond that, when you start working with plants like this,
Yeah.
It fosters a deeper connection to nature,
I feel that.
which can be incredibly healing in and of itself, I think.
It reminds you that you're part of something bigger.
Yes, exactly.
Like we've been talking about all these individual benefits of having a medicine garden.
Yeah,
But it's bigger than that, right?
it is, yeah.
It's about having that knowledge.
Yeah.
There's resources right there when you need them.
Exactly. It's about resilience, like you said.
Exactly. It's not just about like treating a symptom here or there.
Yeah.
It's about a whole different way of approaching your well-being.
Totally.
Yeah.
And a different way of connecting with nature, too.
Yes. And it gives you a sense of control, don't you think, in a world that often feels very out of control.
100%. Like, you're taking your health into your own hands, literally.
Literally, yeah.
When you grow your own herbs,
Yeah.
you know exactly where they came from,
Right.
how they were grown. There's no mystery.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's funny. We started out talking about the practical side of this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's how to save money on medicine.
Right. Haha.
But it's become so much more than that.
It really has.
It's about tradition. It's about connecting with nature.
It's all of those things.
And ultimately connecting with yourself.
Exactly. And the best part is it's a journey, you know?
Mhm.
You can start small with a few basic plants,
Mm-hmm.
get to know them, see what works for you, and then go from there.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. And you might even inspire others to start their own little medicine gardens.
Right. I love that a whole community connected by their backyard apothecaries. It's a beautiful thought.
Right. It's a nice thought.
Well, we've covered so much ground today, from the science behind these amazing plants to the emotional and even social benefits of growing your own medicine garden.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. So if you had to leave our listeners with just one thing to ponder after this deep dive,
Okay.
what would it be?
I would say, imagine if we all started looking at our gardens as more than just, decorations or even just sources of food.
Yeah.
What if we saw them as sources of healing and resilience?
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it could change everything about how we interact with the natural world.
And how we take care of ourselves and each other.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing all this incredible knowledge with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to all of you listening, we hope you feel inspired to start your own journey into the world of natural remedies. Until next time, happy gardening.